Pokemon anime just dropped an episode that felt incredibly introspective and personal towards the emotional development of its characters. It also shined a light on Emma and her story between Pokemon X and Y and Pokemon Legends ZA, and that was especially exciting as a game fan. So be sure to like and subscribe if you enjoy, and now let's dive into my review of Pokemon Horizons, episode 113. After Roy and Ult lost against Lucario in the previous episode, they ended up inside the Looker Bureau. You know, the same building from the X and Y games that Looker owned before giving it to his apprentice, Emma. Emma is there providing food for Roy and Ult, and she seemingly has a bit of a motherly dynamic towards Ult, caring about him a lot. That really does make her character feel like she's somewhere in between the young Emma from the X and Y games and the adult Emma from Legends ZA. Clearly this has got to take place between those two eras, and it's really exciting seeing unseen territory for her character, getting a glimpse into how she ended up like the Emma in ZA. Roy and Ult talk about how insanely powerful Lucario the Yellow Blast was, and then Ult mentions his ultra powerful Pokemon inside his Dusk Ball, and Roy can totally relate because he tells Ult about his ancient Pokeball, and how he wants to gain recognition from the Black Rayquaza who used to be inside it. So the two of them are really similar in that way, both seeking the recognition from the dragons inside their mysterious Pokeballs. I love that they can bond over that, dude. Except not really bond, because Ult being Ult begins declaring that the Black Rayquaza will be his, that he'll catch it before Roy can. He's so petty, man, I love him. Roy obviously begins arguing back, saying that Black Rayquaza is his dream, not Ult's dream. It's quite funny seeing how casually their rivalry kicked off back then, and how it sparked them to locking in to get stronger, leading to where they are in Mega Voltage. But I'm not gonna lie, I'd be fuming too if I was Roy and someone tried to steal my dream from me. But hey, I guess, deep down, it's probably one of the best motivators anyone could ever ask for. Roy tells them how he was a part of the Rising Volt Tacklers, and then Emma's Esper, Mimi, psychics up a newspaper article about the Rising Volt Tacklers being terrorists. This little Esper is such a hater, bruh. I'm just kidding. Roy tells them that none of what Exceed says is true, and it's nice to see him getting a little more heartfelt and emotional about his feelings. You can tell it's still weighing him down a fair amount. Shortly after, the power goes out and Emma just casually Mega Evolves her Ampharos, restoring the power in the most beautifully dazzling way of all time. Bit of a flex, not gonna lie, but hey, I'll take any Mega Ampharos content I can get. Within reason. And then later on, Emma confides in Roy and tells him that Ult used to live in the streets without a home until she approached him and offered him a place to stay. You see, Emma could really relate to him. She reveals that she was an orphan too, until a man called Looker took her in as her own and helped her become a detective. Okay, so first of all, that's confirmation that this definitely takes place between Emma's story in X and Y and Legends ZA like I theorized. And second of all, how absolutely perfect and sweet for Emma to bring in Irito from the streets, because Looker did the same for her. That's so heartfelt, man, I love it. What an awesome addition to Emma's character. And third of all, dude, I can't believe we're seeing Looker so clearly in Pokemon Horizons. That is genuinely insane to me, man. I know when I made a video last week discussing whether Horizons does or does not take place in the same universe as Ash's anime, some people got pretty angry at me for bringing it up. And look, I get it. Horizons is its own thing and bringing up Ash all the time isn't really helpful, so I won't focus on it as much this time, even though I think that energy should be redirected towards people who actually can't let go of Ash. Not me, who's made like 500 Pokemon Horizons videos. But anyway, I digress. I won't focus on it as much in this video, but just seeing Looker so clearly in Horizons, you know, a character who did appear in Ash's anime, it feels so crazy and strange. Obviously I know Looker is originally from the games, and I'm not saying it's definitely the same Looker who knew Ash, it could easily be a different universe. At the moment we don't have any proof proving that or refuting that, it's all up for discussion. But regardless of that, just seeing him again is so insane and so hype, you know? I do wonder whether we'll find out more about Looker in Horizons next week, or whether this is the only time he'll be mentioned. Only time will tell. Anyway, it's super clear how much Emma cares for Ult, so she hopes that Roy will become a good friend to him, which is really nice and sweet to see. I just want to say quickly that I really did love hearing Ult's backstory properly here. Seeing that he was living on the street, going through such dark, difficult times with only Sableye by his side, that really does explain so much about his character and the way he acts. It feels so fitting, you know? What a great backstory, man. So the next day, Ult tries to Mega Evolve Sableye, but nothing happens. His Keystone doesn't respond to him. So Master Mayonnaise preaches about Mega Evolution requiring trainer and Pokemon to be fully synchronized in their feelings and faith and bond, so Roy and Ult should battle each other to test that. And I'm so grateful the battle goes exactly as it should. You know, Roy running laps around Ult. Basically, Sableye power gem is easily dodged by Crocodile over and over and over and over and over and over and over. He loves spamming that, huh? And then Crocodile uses Disarming Voice to hit Sableye hard. And at this point, Sableye is tired and he's out of sync with Ult, so his Throat Chop misses entirely, and Crocodile responds with Stomping Tantrum to knock it down, and Lucario is secretly watching the entire thing. Roy and Crocodile are then celebrating, but Sableye tries to do a sneaky Shadow Sneak to hit Crocodile unawares. But because Roy and Crocodile are so easily synchronized in their feelings, in a way that feels very Aura or Bond Phenomenon inspired, that allows Crocodile to easily use Flame Charge to dodge and smash into Sableye with huge power, knocking it out. Dude, I am so relieved that Roy absolutely destroyed Ult. I've got nothing against Ult, but Roy and Crocodile achieved so much before the time skip. They were so deeply bonded and synchronized and took on insane foes like Rayquaza. If after all of that they then lost to Ult, who's never really faced anything like that and has never really left Lumio City on a journey, that would feel insane to me, dude. I'm so glad they didn't nerf our boy Roy. So at this point, Ult is desperate and he begins screaming for his Dusk Ball to activate. It's quite sad, really. He's disappointed and deflated because he lost. He doesn't know if he can achieve Mega Evolution, and that leads to Master Mayonnaise giving Ult some tough love, basically pointing out everything he did wrong and what he needs to work on. He tells Ult that he really needs to start being one with Sableye, because in that battle, Sableye spamming Power Gem over and over made him exhausted, resulting in him being clumsy for the rest of the battle, and then screaming for his Dusk Ball to come and rescue him, relying on it in that way. That just felt desperate and like he failed to connect with Sableye, whereas in comparison, Roy and Crocodile trusted and synchronized with each other way better. In response to those criticisms, Ult is frustrated and he reveals that he does believe in Sableye, because Sableye has been here by his side throughout all of the bad times. They've always had each other's backs, even when they had nothing, so he wants to be the strongest trainer with Sableye. So Mayonnaise tells him if that's the case, then he needs to start thinking about how Sableye feels, rather than just focusing on himself. If he can't do that, then he won't achieve Mega Evolution. I really love how Master Mayonnaise was written in this episode, dude. Like, I know the entire joke is that he's a bit of a shady figure, that we don't really know how real he is or whether he's just a phony, but this scene really showed that he is a good, smart, great trainer. He paid so much attention and he knows what Ult needs to work on. He clearly deeply understands Mega Evolution, and I really hope his criticisms and tough love towards Ult will help him grow in the future. I also want to say that I really liked how Ult's Dusk Ball was incorporated into the episode too. Hearing Ult talk about it earlier and then seeing him desperately blindly relying on it now, it really makes it clear that his development with Dragonite has been going on for way longer than we've seen it happening. Ult's feelings towards the Dusk Ball and trying to impress Dragonite, it's been going on for so long off screen. So that moment where he successfully summoned Dragonite for the first time in the future in Mega Voltage, that feels way more significant and powerful now in hindsight, after seeing that it genuinely did take a lot of character development for Ult to reach that point. That makes me happy, dude. Anyway, immediately after, Lucario appears again, and then he leads them back to the Mayonnaise Palace from last week, and somehow I only just realised that Mayonnaise Palace is a play on Mayonnaise Palace. That took me way too long, dude. And this time when Roy and Ult explore the maze, Ult begins listening to Sableye and trusting Sableye fully, unlike last time, and that leads to them finding a totally new path forwards. That was such a fantastic moment for the two of them. The way they clearly listened to all of the things Master Mayonnaise criticised them of doing in the previous battle, especially how Ult needed to learn to listen to Sableye and pay attention to Sableye as its own individual person. Clearly Ult took it to heart and learned from it and is already practicing it, because that's exactly what he's doing in the maze. He allowed Sableye to take the lead, he trusted the little guy. That's really special, man. And then when Roy and Ult charge ahead ready to fight Lucario, they're instead met by two powerful foes standing in their way. This Wario looking dude called Count Oyster and his Escavalier, and then this ninja fella called Shoyu with his Excelgor. It's time to battle, and that's where the episode ended. So overall, I actually quite liked this episode, but I feel like you can split it into two parts. Part 1, Emma, and Part 2, Ult and Sableye. And I think how good the episode ages really depends greatly on whether we see Emma again in the future. The first half of the episode, like I said, was super centered around Emma, and although we did get some nice Ult backstory and Roy bonding moments too, it's clear what the main focus was here, showing off Emma's character. If Emma returns again after the time skip, maybe with her Legend ZA design and plays a larger role in the story of Horizons, for example, as a detective, maybe she could help our heroes investigating Exceed and exposing their lies. If something like that happens, then dedicating dedicating so much time to Emma in this episode makes total sense, and it'll age really well. But if that doesn't happen, and if Emma doesn't return again after this mini-arc, then unfortunately the first half of this episode probably won't age as well. It might feel a little bit more boring, and like the only purpose of it is just to promote the ZA games and nothing else, and that would be a bit of a shame. But regardless, I'm sure it was a great time for any fans of Emma's character, even if she never returns again. For me though, the second half of this episode is really where it shined the most. Seeing Ult failing in the battle, not connecting with Sableye fully, not listening to Sableye, but then realising his mistakes with the tough love of Mayonnaise, and putting all of that into action at the Mayonnaise temple, that was so awesome. Really great character development for Ult and Sableye. It made me appreciate them even more. And now I'm sure the real test will be teaming up with Roy to take down Wario and Ninja, leading to the conclusion with Lucario. That's gonna be so peak, dude. I think it would have been nice to focus more on Roy's feelings of failure and frustration in the episode 2 after failing against Lucario, because the end of the last episode really felt like it was setting up such a dramatic moment for Roy. Maybe we could have seen Roy realising that he wasn't as focused or as locked in, maybe because he's still thinking about Freed or the Rise and Volt tacklers. That would have been super emotionally effective, man. It would have added even more weight to what happened in Lacqua, seeing that it heavily impacted Roy like it did Liko, but I guess there was no time for that, unfortunately. So yeah, I think I've covered just about everything, so let me know your thoughts on the episode in the comments below, and be sure to like and subscribe if you enjoyed my review. That would really help me out a lot, dude. We're so close to 150,000 subscribers. Thank you so much to all of my incredible channel members, like Fizz, Zatoten, Shiny, Giscadia, Not Mini, Hope, Bonnie, Melissa, Sherborne, Ramondus, Pokesan, Jay. You guys are absolute legends, okay? And yeah, on that note, thank you all so much for watching, and best wishes until we meet again!